Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I'm Daren Jaime. Coming up tonight on Perspectives, we talk about the state of the borough of the Bronx with the person that knows most about it. He is the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr. He joins us here on set, and this is the first time we've had you since being elected Borough President. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. The last time I was here, I was a candidate for the Bronx Borough Presidency.
Yes.
So it's a pleasure to be back, and I commend you and applaud you for having such an informational show, getting all of the community leaders to come by, and I'm ready to discuss whatever you want to discuss about the great borough of the Bronx.
Well, we want to talk about how great the borough of the Bronx is. Some questions are out there right now as to what is the status of the Bronx in terms of economically booming, busting, how's it going? From your perspective and your analysis, how's it looking?
Well, usually the borough presidents give the State of the Bronx address sometime in January. But I think it's a fair question. And when you look at the United States and the economy, whenever the economy has a cold, you know that the Bronx has pneumonia. And unfortunately, we've seen many of the census information that's come out that says that we have a high unemployment rate, the highest in the state of New York. This is a title we no longer want. But the fact of the matter is while we may be poor in our pockets, that we are abundance in spirit and resilience. We the borough have come back. When you look at all of the different development that's happening in our borough of the Bronx, last month we opened up St. Anne's Terrace, $170 million low affordable housing unit with over 600 units there, where many Bronxites are working to build that facility, where we're going to have housing for Bronxites. When you look at the Gateway Mall that has employed thousands of different Bronxites, and there's so much now that we're working on. I visited last week the U.S. senators and the Bronx delegation in Congress. I went to Washington, D.C., and we spoke to them about how is it that we can get stimulus dollars directly in the borough of the Bronx so that we can have this green economy flourish, and we'll talk a little bit about that. How is it that we can get intermodal monies for transportation services, public transportation, roads, so that not only get people back to work, but make the Bronx continue to look as beautiful as it's looking. And how is it that we can get from the healthcare reform package, monies for our medical institutions, our health institutions, which are the largest employers in the borough of the Bronx. If you look at Montefiore, Montefiore employs 17,000 Bronxites. And if you take into account the fact that they also have Albert Einstein under their umbrella, that's over 20,000 Bronxites that employ. How is it that we safeguard the money that's there, but increase it so that we can bring in innovative medical facilities, biopharmaceuticals, so that we can not only create jobs, but ultimately lead the way in finding remedies to things like asthma and cancer and the like. So I think the state of the Bronx is great when you compare to where we've been and what we're doing and how we're leading the way.
And we want to encourage our viewers, if you want to join in on our conversation, the phone lines are open, 718-960-7241. That's the number where you can join in on our conversation. Talk a little bit about that economic stimulus money. We know that you made your first official visit to the Capitol as borough president. A lot of questions as to whether or not money will actually be able to trickle down to the Bronx and exactly where. What did you come away with out of the Capitol?
The fact of the matter is that when you look at the first phase of stimulus dollars, I'm not too happy of how that money was doled out. So the monies were gone from the federal government to the state and to localities, in this case being the city of New York. And what you saw is the governor and the mayor of the city of New York, they used that money and they plugged in budget gaps. So things that were already shovel ready, projects that were already shovel ready, they used that because there was a shortfall in revenue for the state and the city of New York. And it helps. But the fact of the matter is that very little of that money winds up being directly into a county like the borough of the Bronx. So I spoke to the former borough president, and I had a chance to sit with him, Adolfo Carrion, who's the urban policy director. I spoke to Kristen Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer, and we're going to start mapping out how is it that we give them directly to the Department of Energy. How is it that we give many of the federal agencies a direct proposal for things that are happening right here in the Bronx so they could directly fund them out of stimulus dollars? And how is it that we have the Bronx delegation, Jose Serrano, Joseph Crowley, and Elliot Engel support those projects so that the Bronx can reap the benefits of the stimulus package in the second phase. There's so many different innovative things that we can do, some green collar, some green jobs that we can do. For instance, we need to support something called Big Belly. Big Belly is a solar powered trash receptacle that compresses garbage. And it's fascinating because it holds 10 times the amount of garbage that you see in a regular garbage can out in the corner. And it does so in an airtight container where you don't smell or see garbage falling out. But what's fascinating is that solar panel triggers off not only the battery that helps compress it, but when it's full, it lets the provider say that it's full. And what's even more fascinating, Daren, is that Franklin Cruz is manufacturing the Big Belly in Tiffany Street, right here in the borough of the Bronx. How is it that we can get federal dollars, state dollars, and city dollars so that someone like Franklin Cruz can grow that business so that he can be able to advertise in other states and throughout the United States? And if he's able to get big orders in, then he can train Bronxites and put them in. He's already employing 40 Bronxites.
And you've been a big proponent of the Going Green initiative here in the borough of the Bronx.
It is the way to go. When you look at, I remember working at Farberware. And Farberware, for those viewers who don't know, is where we made pots, frying pans. Right after high school, I worked at Farberware. And unfortunately, we lost over 800 jobs, manufacturing jobs in Farberware, when that company went to Central America. And many moons ago, many years ago, the borough of the Bronx's economy was one of manufacturing. There is no reason why not only can we help protect the environment by having green roofs, solar panel, energy efficient boilers, and other equipment, and training people to install them, but have them manufactured right here in the borough of the Bronx. This is the way you train people to manufacture, you train them to install them, you clean up the environment, you give tax incentive to those companies or those developers who use it. It's a win situation for everyone, and it's a way for us to continue to chip away at that unemployment rate, because that title of us having the highest unemployment rate in the state of New York is a title that we no longer want.
And we're seeing right now some video of the green roof at the Bronx County Courthouse.
And that's something that I'm proud about, because when you look at this municipal building at Borough Hall, we're the first and only municipal building in the city of New York that has a green roof. And this is what I'm talking about. This is not us just being a borough that's come back, but a borough that's leading the way. This morning, I was able to cut the ribbon and open up on 1085 Washington Avenue, a new affordable housing, 90 units of affordable housing, where it has a green roof and solar panel, where the water for the building is being heated by solar panels. Over 30% of the heating is that water. That means that the boiler is not used as much as other boilers in other buildings. And so this is what I'm talking about. We continue to help developers do this. If we give them the tax credit, the tax rebates, it helps to create the market, and then we start to train the workforce. And you know, the best is yet to come. In fact, we're going to have an economic summit on November 18th. At the Botanical Garden, where we bring in all of the business minds and all the community groups and those who think green, how we're going to bring them all together, look at the economy holistically in the borough of the Bronx, and see how is it that we can move forward and provide a new, stable economy with jobs of the future for Bronxites. And so these Bronxites are not only going to be able to do that here in the borough and for development in the borough, but throughout the tri-state area and beyond. It's a wonderful way for us to get people back to work, but also for us to lead the nation in doing so.
A lot of people were concerned about Yankee Stadium, the fact that there's this development going on, and the fact that in some areas of the Bronx you got a lot of overdevelopment going on, and questions about how really effective is this new Yankee Stadium in bringing business and improving the economy.
Yankee Stadium is by far the most renowned sports entity in the planet. And the fact of the matter is that they invested hundreds of millions of dollars of their money to build the stadium. Now, there are many questions as to whether or not they provided the jobs that they said they were going to provide, whether or not they lived up to the end of the bargain with contracting local businesses. And these are conversations that we continue to have with the Yankees. But the Yankees have assured me, and we've been in talks. In fact, just today I had a conversation with Randy Levine, the president of the Yankees, that they want to be a good neighbor. They want to give back to the borough of the Bronx. In fact, tomorrow also we're making an announcement. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, because we want BronxNet to be there and cover the press conference. But we're going to get one of the bowl games, the college football bowl games in the borough of the Bronx, and that's going to help to stimulate the local economy.
All right, let me take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit more with our Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr. He'll give us a little bit more information about what's going on in the Bronx.